With them. I know I have Kagiso Musi from Meta Media, who's a group managing director, will also be hang out with us here. Kaibe Molo from African Bank is head of marketing. He'll be right here with us as well. Tato Sehaole, rather, Black Market Media is executive director, will also be here with us, just hanging out. But in the studio right now, I have Ace Ncobo. What's it, brah?
Oh, good, thanks, man.
Are you well?
Always well, eh?
I've only seen you on TV.
On SABC TV.
I've only seen you on TV. It's such a pleasure. You've graced our TV screens for many years, officiating soccer games for a long time, and you still look the same like you did 20 years ago.
Look, man, I think I have vampire tendencies.
You don't age.
Actually, 30 years ago, I looked exactly like this, and
so
I don't
you
believe
also
that. Yeah, I know. And
you
then
know
I
that.
believe that 30 years from now, I'll still look exactly like that.
Whatever it is you're doing, you need to bottle and sell. You might just make a lot of money.
Oh, well, I'm not so sure that it would work for other people.
You reckon? You wrote a book, 10 Principles of Philanthropic Leadership in a South African context. What do you think is our problem in our country?
Look, I wrote that book at a time when we had reached what I thought was the depth of the doldrums in terms of leadership crisis.
Yes.
I wrote it at a time when we needed to ask ourselves this question.
Yeah.
24 years, 25 years after democracy, and we still, by and large, despite the great strides that the democratic government has done, we still, by and large, having people that are experiencing the same levels of poverty, the same levels of deprivation. And we needed to then pose this question. If after a quarter of a century we're still experiencing these things, and we haven't forgotten the legacy of the apartheid system that we came from and its inhibitions in terms of growth, but we're saying, are we having the right kind of leader? And what kind of leader can take us out of the quagmire,
mess.
And so we came up with a leadership philosophy in the book. And coincidentally, the principles that begged to be included into that leadership philosophy, there were 10 of them.
Yes.
Which you can convert into 10 commandments for leaders.
True.
Yeah, that's where the background for the book comes from.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to see something very exciting happening in the Northern Cape.
Okay. Yes.
With the
last week's report was quite. It's outstanding.
I think he has read my book. I'm not sure. If he hasn't, there has been a telepathic connection somehow because he is living exactly according to the 10 principles of philanthropic leadership.
Of the 10, which one stands out almost immediately for you and you practice without even thinking of the 10 principles?
I think the principle of humility.
Yeah.
We've had leaders who have grown up in poverty. We have leaders who have grown up being the most humble in the village, in the township, who pay due regard to all the people and pay reverence to all the people.
I have a feeling there's a bad coming.
The moment
yes.
they get deployed to positions of power, I don't know what happens. The radical transformation that takes place. Those people start, the first thing they'll do, they'll leave their village, they leave their township, they will go and stay elsewhere in a gated suburb somewhere, and they will never be available to the people. The kind of person that will call you all the time when they are down there, can you assist my organization here and there? And once they are there, they don't pick up the calls from the ordinary people that took them to where they are. So we have a problem with leaders that dump the principle of humility once they assume positions of power.
Do you imagine this changing at all? And I say this, in the backdrop of the challenges that all of Africa faces, which is similar situation that you're describing. And our democracy is still fairly young relative to other democracies throughout Africa. And yet the same problems persist in all those countries as well. Do you see us overcoming the challenges that you're describing in this book? And the principles really are saying, ungachonji. Remember your people. Those are basic African principles. So do you see us overcoming those?
I believe we're a very special country. I believe that we're a very special nation. We've gone through in the recent past a period where we forgot about our people.
Yeah.
We've gone through a period where the needs of our people took the back burner, and what came forth, and we're seeing it coming out in the State Capture Commission, chaired by Justice Zondo, that people suddenly wanted to amass wealth for themselves, their friends, their families, and those who happen to be close to them, instead of understanding that when you are sent to a position of power, you are there to manage these state resources for and on behalf of the people. I believe that even if we are going to be assisted in changing our mindset by the prisons, let that happen. But I'm a,
you reckon maybe prisons will help us?
I'm a perennial optimist that there's a renewed sense of political will, which is palpable, that runs across the length and breadth of the country. I mean, you've seen it with the recent State of the Province addresses, where most, if not all, of the premiers chose to cut down
to go cheaper
on this, ostentatious expenditure that's got nothing to do with impacting on the lives of our people. So I think there is a change. There is a drastic appetite
for change.
For change. So in that regard, I do believe that we won't go the route of those countries that were liberated from colonial rule via the liberation struggle. I believe that there's a bright future for this country.
As we conclude, why are you here with us today?
Well, I've been invited by the SABC to this inaugural Radio Connect event, and I'm representing the people.
Okay.
Both people like yourselves in radio and the companies that want to buy airtime on radio to market their products and services, they need to know who they're speaking to.
That's true.
I'm here to tell these people here, who are they speaking to? I represent the people. David, I was born in a rural area, one of the most poverty-stricken areas in South Africa to this day. I schooled there. I worked there. I still live there. I live with and amongst the ordinary people who make up the biggest chunk of the 28 million listeners to SABC Radio. So I represent them because for me, it's not about theory. That's why if you walk in there when I'm delivering my speech, you won't see any PowerPoint.
No slides.
No slides. It's lived experiences. It is things that I live with on a daily basis. So I know who the listener of the SABC is. So I'm here representing 28 million people.
We need you. The people have the right to be represented. And for that, thank you so much. I appreciate the time you've given us. Check out your book. Please tell everybody about it.
It's the 10 Principles of Philanthropic Leadership by Ace Ncobo.
There's one I like in there. It's called integrity. It's a very important principle. The one that we should live by. If we did, we wouldn't be having the Zondo Commission. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. Thanks to the listeners.
I appreciate it. So, 2000, our music, your memories. Go back to music.